SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste, hello everyone. Welcome again to my NPTEL course on interior design. We are in the week 7 and we are at lecture number 33 today. We are going to talk about building material costing, something known as the BoQ, market exposure, and some product catalogs. So, the broad contents for today: what makes up an interior design, cost of varied materials, factors that affect the calculation while we are finding out the cost of an interior design project, some examples related to this cost calculation, and some discussion on, some approaches for achieving low cost while designing interior design projects, and some of the references. So let's start by understanding what makes up an interior design, although we have been discussing this throughout the course with the help of different examples through different lenses. So apart from the basic anatomy of a space, the interiors are enhanced by several additional components, and it's very important to also factor those components when we try to understand what makes up the entire interior architecture project, or how do we approach designing those interior spaces. So, of course, there is custom made furniture, and some clientele are very, very specific about custom design. So, for them, it's not like a regular brand which is available as a ready made solution, but they would like to have custom made designs. Also, not just clientele, some designers push the boundaries and go for these custom made designs. And I'm very fond of works done by SRDA, Samira Rathore Design Associates, based in Mumbai, and they do a lot of custom design. Then, specific lighting fixtures, which are also for very specific needs, and they may also have, some inputs focusing on custom design. Shelves and cupboards, curtains and fabrics, and wall decors. So, when we talk about interior space, we can talk about all of these components which need to be factored in while we are talking about the whole to part and part to whole, and then this also adds up for finding out the cost of the overall project. And of course, we have talked about these important aspects in any case throughout different lectures. So floor covering, wall treatment, window and door decorations, ceiling design, and fixtures and furnitures. Some of the examples of floor covering and floor treatment, floor finishes, we have seen elaborately in one of the lectures. So some images I have put over here with due credits to the resources. And this is one of the classifications for floor coverings. And when we talk about floor coverings, we often see the reference to hard floor, semi-hard, and softer floor. And within that also we have like non-resilient and resilient when we talk about the hard floor classification. And within that we have material specifications. So stone, concrete, terrazzo. So we find these orders and we find the mention of varied materials associated with this category, like non-resilient, resilient. For the case of semi-hard, we find other classification methods based on the finish and the material in the specification. And when we talk about soft floor, it's more like carpets and mats and rugs, two broad categories. Also, wall treatment. There are diverse ways to treat the walls, starting with paints, textures, different kinds of custom made plasters, other kinds of finishes, which may be, even metallic, something related to an origami inspired technique. So there are various ways. This is again one inventory that showcases wall treatment classification. So wall finishes, wall covering, wall cladding, flexible wall decors. And within that, we have diverse options available: cement plaster finish, mud and clay finish, paint finish, marble powder finish, mural and graffiti, illusion. There are wooden panels, there is stone cladding, there is mosaic cladding, cladding which is done with the help of bricks, ceramic cladding. There is also something known as 3D cladding, which is quite popular these days. And then when we talk about flexible wall decors, of course, we see the mention of wallpapers, fabrics, cork, and many other kinds of material and finishes. Window and door decoration also is crucial when we talk about the overall design and impact of interior design projects, because they stand out and they highlight certain details, and people are very, very fond of showcasing, windows and doors, and using fabrics, curtains, different kinds of paints and finishes on the windows and doors. There are some types of window dressings which are quite popular, such as plantation shutters and blinds, sophisticated curtains such as these, and then pull down roller shades, also shears like this. I'm personally very fond of shears, but depends what is the orientation of the site and for which climatic context this is being used. It could also be used in a combination. So we could have permutation combination of varied options which are available to us. Then we also have Roman shades, we have volanches, we have window scarves. We also have the options such as stained glass. So it depends on the overall taste of the clientele, designers, ideology and approach, and what suits most the context and the purpose of the project. Ceiling design, that's another important factor when we talk about what constitute interior design and what is factored in while we are also talking about the costing aspect of it. And ceiling design is quite crucial in interior design projects. It creates a lot of attention, it creates a lot of showcasing of different elements through detailing, color, lighting. So there are various fall ceiling materials which could be utilized. Gypsum board is quite popular. The plaster of Paris is also used, POP, glass, acrylic. And gypsum board is actually used a lot when we talk about fall ceiling designs. There is also PVC. There are acoustical panels. There is wood, of course, which is used quite popularly. There are some metals that are used for creating interesting ceiling designs. There is also cement fiber, which is utilized for ceiling designs, especially fall ceiling designs. Then there are fixtures and furniture, which are very, very important components when we talk about interior design projects. They could be of a certain make or they could be custom designed. They could be used in a permutation and combination, and they create a lot of interest within our interior spaces where we inhabit, long duration and long hours. And now let's talk about some, materials that I'm going to focus on, and then what is the cost of those materials. I have taken some of these from diverse sources, and you may find some changes, these may not be like very, very correct costing, but it gives a lot of idea because sources may vary. So, when we talk about the Indian stone, specifically marble, there's a huge variety available in it. And, like say dark green marble, and the costing will also vary. So, it starts from INR 50 and goes above depending on the quality, which grade of the stone. And, it's also given in dollars to understand when it is exported and so on. So, these are different varieties with different costing, which is just to give us an idea. So if we talk about Burberry Black, that starts from 75. Fire Red, it starts from 125 and goes beyond. There is Flawless White, which starts at 250 and goes beyond. So it depends what's the finish, what's the color, pigment, what is the quality, and so on. There is Golden Black, 150 and above, Golden Marble, 50 and above, and light green marble, which is 35 and above, and so on. And there is a huge variety when we talk about stones and specifically marble, but otherwise, in general, when we talk about the overall variety within the material palette of stone, a lot of options are available. There are also marble tiles, and they could be anywhere starting at 15 and going much beyond it, depending on the quality and finish and typology. And there is a milky white, 35 and above, and so on. And we can see more variety over here: rainbow, rainforest brown, rainforest gold, spider green marble, which appears something like this and is available rupees 100 and above. We have something which appears like teak, it's 40 and above. There is white marble, 100 and above. There is white super quality, which is 300 and above. So it depends on what quality and what is the budget. We have Wonder Marble, we have Wonder Wood, we have something in purple. So, different color shades, the name purple. Then we have granite, which is used quite extensively in interior design projects. And the lecture where we have focused on stone, we have talked about the usage of granite in certain areas such as kitchen. And we did talk about the properties of this material as well. So when we talk about granite and to have the idea of pricing, I have put, some images and the idea of costing. So when we talk about the premium Rajasthan black granite, it could start at INR 80 per square feet. Black Galaxy granite, 190 per square feet. Black pearl granite, 450 per square feet. So it depends which one we are picking up and what is the overall budget of the client. And there is something which has a leather finish which starts at 150 per square feet. There is a green pearl granite, 200 per square feet, looks something like this. And then there is white Galaxy granite, again 200 per square feet. So there is a wide variety which is available, and depending on what is the affordability, for what purpose it is being selected, and what is the taste of the clientele, we can just pick and choose. Of course, applying our own sensitivities as designer and picking up the right stone which is suited for which area. There is Madurai gold granite, starts like 175 per square feet, 10 brown, and so on. There are more options available, such as this rosy pink granite, 65 per square feet. So there is a huge range, at the lower end as far as the pricing is concerned, all the way to the higher end. Then we talk about vitrified tiles, which are used very popularly and commonly in interior architecture projects of all typologies. So whether it's residential or it is public buildings or institutional buildings, we see a lot of use of tiles. And I'm specifically talking about vitrified tiles. And we could see the price ranging anywhere from 50 to 200 and even above, depending on the detailing and the finish. And city wise also, sometimes the prices vary, and that's, we see that kind of slight variation and alteration depending on where that city is, where the project is being executed, from where the tiles are procured, or what is the market like in which city, what is the demand. So that way we see these variations. So if we see 145 per square feet in Surat, we may see also 185 per square feet in a city like Mumbai. So we see these kinds of variations in the market. And also the cost of these tiles varies depending on the size, brand and design. So whether it has certain pattern, it has certain motif inlaid to it, what is the size that we are dealing with, are we going to use grooves while laying them or they are jointless. So in one of the lectures we are talking about tiles and the methods of laying, and we have discussed a few aspects such as these in that lecture. And here also we see the variations, depending on the city. So if it in Nashik, it is 160 per square feet. In Bangalore, you could find it at 185 per square feet. Now the following section that I will show you, it discusses a detailed breakup of flooring rates to understand labor charges and material cost. So whenever we talk about the interior design project costing, of course, there is a material cost which is based on the material that is procured, different kinds of materials that go into the making of that project. And of course, there are labor charges. So, human resources, karigars who are implementing that, what's the work like that happens on the site, and so on. And what is included in this rate? So, all rates are with the unit of per square feet. That's important to understand. Also, the cost of tiles is assumed here when this kind of a description and discussion is being shown here. And it will vary as per selection of the tiles. Of course, there is a lot of bearing on what is the selection of the material, the type of the tile, and the design. And there is this one thumb rule which is important. Use river sand, since creek, that is the salty sand, will cost low, but it will remain inferior in quality. So even if it costs higher, this is what is suggested professionally. So we see over here the itemized details. Cost of tiles, which was already, claimed that it's included here. Labor, the river sand, which is recommended to be used professionally. Cement and cleaning and grouting. So again, during the discussion on tiling, we have extensively talked about grouting and cleaning. So when we talk about cost of tiles, and let's say these are different cities over here, and there is a variation: Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Delhi, Goa, Nagpur, Nashik, Ahmedabad, Surat, Vadodara. So different parts of the country. And cost of tiles could vary, 80, 75, 90, even 55. When you talk about the labor cost, it could be 40, 35. Again, in Vadodara, it is 35. Nashik, it's 30. So there are subtle variations. Then procuring river sand, 30 in Mumbai, rupee 20 in Pune, 25 in Bengaluru, and so on. Then cement, again, here you see mostly it is consistent, which is INR 20. And about the grouting, also there is a subtle variation ranging between 15 and 25. So according to, the city and the project location and, what is the itemized detail, we can just find out all these detail, costing, ways of costing. Then we talk about clay tiles, and there are different colors in which these tiles are available. So it could be silver grey, chocolate, autumn blend, natural red, also something called as cappuccino, which is quite interesting and popular. And there are different dimensions and specifications. So 150 cross 150, 300 cross 300. So this would be like 1 feet by 1 feet. 500 cross 500, 300 cross 600. So 1 feet by 2 feet. And then what is the thickness in mm. So these dimensions here, 150 cross 150, this is in mm, and I was converting some of them also into feet to give an idea. And then the thickness, whether it's 12 mm, 14 mm, 15 mm. Then what is the requirement per square feet, whether 4 tiles are required or one number is required or less is required. What is the weight per tile? Numbers of tiles per packet. So, the packaging, the packet, transportation, the entire value chain also matters. Available colors, suitability, whether it is for exterior, interior, wall, floor, both wall and floor, size variations, variations in thickness, and of course the water absorption. We discussed at great length the water absorption and then how we are able to take a call which kind of tile to be put in which area. There are also these terracotta tiles which are quite popular and very interesting, quite aesthetic as well as functional. I like these tiles. I have been sharing some of my biases. So terracotta flooring also comes in different sizes: 300 cross 300, 300 cross 600, 500 cross 500. And these tiles are quite perfect for living rooms, balconies, bedrooms, verandas, walkways. And we have this natural red terracotta flooring also, which is very popular. And you could see it in dimension 300 and 600 mostly, in rectangular shape. And this type of flooring can be mixed and matched with other kinds of tiles, square floor tile, and we could create interesting patterns out of it. There is this chocolate colored terracotta tile which is seen over here, mostly 300 cross 300 size. And these tiles are full bodied, and meaning that the color will last forever. That's very interesting aspect regarding the floor tiles that I'm just trying to highlight over here. Then there is this cappuccino, which is again very interesting. 300 cross 300 whole body. The water absorption of cappuccino floor tiles is slightly higher than the other colors. So that makes it an interesting choice for flooring. Then there is this hexagonal form that we see over here. There's a unique charm to this shape and form, and this is crafted for both interior and exterior use. Then this one over here we see specifically designed for steps, for the rounded edges. And this is very interesting. It is an ideal choice when we use for steps. The rounded edges of these tiles make it a great choice. So we have seen in detail the laying methods. This is a catalog on flooring tiles, and this is very interesting. Here we see the name of the tiles, the different sizes over here, number of tiles required per square feet, what is the usage or application, some additional comments or remarks that have been put forth in the catalog. And then there is material cost per square feet, and there is this sort of a checklist that we see over here that helps in assessing and evaluating the cost, and whether it's in regular production or something which is a rarity and may factor in for increase in the time while procuring it. And production against order, so while in regular production, or it is against an order, something customized and special. So this kind of catalog helps us understand the overview. It is again a sort of an inventory which helps us understand these details, such as this concrete floor tiles that are mentioned over here, available in different shapes and sizes and used in car parking, etc. And also there are some additional comments like there should be a PCC base to lay these tiles, plain cement concrete. And these we see over here in terms of pricing, less than rupees 50 per square feet. And they are in regular production. So these kinds of catalogs are handy and help us, with our market research and survey, and help us understand not just as designers but also as customers, clientele, consumers, what are the different types of tiles available in the market, variations in pricing, different kinds of sizes, where all could they be used, and how could they be procured, whether they are in production or they have to be specially produced. Also, laminate flooring are quite interesting and popularly used, and there are some examples. So this is INR 70 per square feet, and this is a wooden tile. Then there is a laminate wooden flooring tile, which is 150 per square feet. And this one is 15 laminate ceramic floor tile, 2 cross 4 feet, and it's a matte finish, and it is INR 800 per box. So it could be per square feet or it could come per box. So these are some variations that we see. Some more examples. This is INR 950 per square feet, and these are slightly bigger in size. So 4 cross 8 feet, and it is a polished laminate floor tile. This one is INR 300 per box. It's laminated vitrified floor tile, and the size is 12 cross 18 inches. Now let's see some examples of wall paneling. So the popular choices are plywood, HDF, which is high density fiber board. There is block board. And when we talk about plywood, it is quite popular, very extensively available in the market. It is made by gluing the thin sheets of wood layers at high pressure, and we could find interior plywood, exterior plywood, and then there is a shuttering grade plywood. So depending on where we are using it and what's the purpose. And it could be used for home decor, paneling, roofing, lining, flooring, furniture. So a huge plethora it could be used for. The plywood does not have grains, so it is finished with paint usually. And it requires some maintenance, although it is resistant to termite and moisture most of the times, but sometimes it requires some maintenance. There are a lot of advantages of plywood. It's quite strong and it is quite easy to use. Then we have HDF, the high density fiber board, and you must have listened or come across MDF, medium density fiber board. That's also very popular in interior design projects. But we also have HDF, which is high density fiber board, and it's quite useful. It is similar to particle board and medium density board, but it is much denser and stronger. So it is quite a popular choice currently. It is made by compressing wood fibers mechanically, and it is used for a lot of purposes since it is quite strong. And it does require some steps when we talk about maintenance. So make sure that the board does not get in touch with water. So we have to keep it away from the moisture and water. And it needs to be cleaned regularly. So there are certain, basic steps to just maintain it, but overall it's very strong and used very popularly. Then there is the block board. So block board is a type of board made by wooden pieces inserted between ply of hardwood, which bonded together under high pressure and temperature give a very useful product. And this also requires some kind of finishing and it requires maintenance. Again, we have to keep it away from the water, it needs to be cleaned, and do not mop with damp cloth, and very simple ways to maintain it. But this is also quite popular. So we were talking about advantages. So here we see again, plywood. It's quite strong and it has more strength compared to block boards, MDF and HDF. It is free from shrinking and warping. It is a cheaper option compared to other options. And there are also some disadvantages. If the lower quality plywood is used, then it peels into layers after extensive use. Then talking about HDF, it has a smooth surface, it has more strength compared to MDF and particle board, and it is a great solution for indoor and outdoor furniture, partitions, furniture, doors, paneling, etc. And talking about its disadvantages, a lot of carpenters still prefer wood block board compared to HDF as they are more confident about the nail holding capabilities of natural wood whose blocks are used to build the block board. So, when we work with the makers, there they are still more confident about the wood block board rather than HDF. And here we talk about the block boards. They are light in weight, they come with a high strength, easy to handle, and easy to work with, used for all kinds of site applications, door manufacturing, high utility functions, furniture, all of those. And they are expensive, so they could be, that way there could be a disadvantage. Now, what factors are considered for interior cost calculation? And there are three major factors when we talk about this, starting with the scope of work. And scope of work refers to all jobs included in the project. So, if we talk about a budget project, it involves only woodwork like modular kitchen, wardrobes, TV units. If we talk about a premium project, it involves wallpapers, false ceilings, lighting as well. And if we talk about a luxury project, there will be costlier finishes like acrylic, modern accessories like sliding wardrobes. There may also be decor items like curtains and more. Then the second factor is the quality of materials, the design of the furniture, quality of materials, quality of wall paint, wood polish, the quality of fabric used for sofas and curtains, light fixtures, and many other things. This will make a huge difference when we talk about interior cost calculation. However, the variance due to this factor is only marginal. So it makes a difference, but the variance due to this factor is not very significant compared to the other two factors. Third is the type of vendor. This is a major factor in terms of pricing. In interiors, there are often multiple middlemen involved, and that may increase the pricing by as high as 30%, which is quite alarming. Now, I would like to mention here a handy tool which is Interior Design Cost Calculator, and you will find it on a website. It is useful, it is handy, but of course, as an interior designer who's formally trained in this profession and discipline, uh, we have our own ways of dealing with the project, and I always recommend going to a designer who is trained. But as a customer, consumer, or a layperson, just to have a broad idea of calculation, if one wants to do their homework and have some idea, they could definitely use such tools. And that's why I thought of including it as part of this lecture and discussion. So, this site provides interior details for cost calculation, majorly for 7 Indian cities. And after selection of the city, material selection is to be done from the available material palette and the pull down menu, and their finishes are to be selected. To execute the above step, the user should have a good knowledge about the material. So, one also needs to know the basics to be able to use this site and tool. Third step is to select the rooms for interior design and providing detailed dimensions of each, and then calculating the total interior cost of the project. This is how it looks like. And here we have house construction, sample floor plans, commercial construction, and something like choose city. Here we have information such as this: plinth area, slab area, covered parking, yes or no, number of floors to be constructed including the basement, which city. And there are options when we talk about city: Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, and so on. And then there is also this selection of material: cement, steel, bricks, flooring, vitrified tile flooring, windows, window sill, window grills, door, staircase. And within that, they have options like economy, economy plus, or premium. And within that, there are options available, and then you pick and choose, and hence it helps in the understanding of the different materials and specifications, and eventually giving the broad estimate. So the features that this site has: on providing the total built up area, the app gives options for three categories: economy, economy plus premium, which could also be understood as budget, premium, or high end. It has an option to select different types of houses from 1 BHK to 3 BHK. The budget for various subheads is also available in this app to understand the percentage of expenditure of various divisions such as carpentry, window curtains, wall paint, wood polish, false ceiling, electrical works. There are also some limitations. It gives a basic idea but not the exact details of cost. So, of course, one has to really do it in detail, and one has to take proper training and proper guidance. And also, it does not have a customized facility. So, it's all pick and choose and very limited to what the program is available on the site or the algorithm is available on the site. Further talking about limitations, this site provides interior details for cost calculation, specifically focusing only on few cities, like we just saw. Also, this calculator focuses a bit more on the modular kitchen along with various accessories. So, it's quite restricted in that manner. More screenshots or images from the interior design cost calculator and the kinds of options that are available and the kinds of details it asks for. So, quite heavily inclined towards modular kitchen. Now, some examples when we talk about cost calculation of interior design projects. This is located in Ahmedabad and it is a cost for a 2 BHK flat. To get a quick answer of the costing, some thumb rules are derived to calculate the cost of interior designs, which are based on various previous projects. So, for low budget, INR 1000 per square feet for the carpet area of home. If we talk about moderate budget while doing the costing of the interior design of this project located in Ahmedabad, INR 1100 to 1500 per square feet for the carpet area of home. And for high end budget could be INR 1600 to 2500. Please note these are just approximations and final costs may vary depending on the designs, material specifications, whether the details are customized or non-customized, and so on. So it's important to note that the above rates do not include flooring, bathroom tiles and fixtures, electronic items, electrical items. It's also important to understand what is carpet area, though a few amongst us may already be aware of it, but it's very important to understand. The usable space within a property that can be covered with a carpet, this is to put in a very simplistic way. So, it is the area where furniture can be placed and daily activities take place. Carpet area determines the actual living space available. In most cases, the carpet area of a home would typically be 70% of its built up area. So, it's important to understand these two terms. Now, let's talk about the consultancy fee. So, the fee for creating and designing 3D renderings of a home for 2 BHK that we have been discussing is typically around INR 18,000 excluding GST. And the fee for detailed execution drawings, site supervision, procurement assistance is INR 120 per square feet excluding GST. Now, for 2 BHK flats ranging from 650 to 900 square feet carpet area, average carpet area that we fixed was 775 square feet. Average consultancy fee that we just discussed is INR 120 per square feet plus 18% GST. So the consultancy fee for the home would be 775 into 120, which is INR 93,000 plus 18% GST. Now the execution fee, and these assumptions are based on a moderate level budget, and we are considering 775 square feet. So when we talk about execution fee, first the cost of common things that apply to all rooms such as false ceiling, electrical works, wall painting, they are considered. So we see this example over here, cost for gypsum false ceiling, electrical fittings, all the electrical works, and we see a total of 2,77,000 over here. There is also furniture cost estimation, and starting with the entry foyer, living room, bedrooms, and the typical furniture which is generally required in these spaces. So that cost, then kitchen plus dining, and all the other details, laminate on the existing doors. So we see here in this example a total of 5,64,000. So if we were to have the broad estimate of this, 2 BHK flat and what is the interior cost, we saw the design consultancy fee already, INR 93,000 plus GST also, which is not mentioned over here. And the execution cost, we saw that, table, and the furniture cost estimation also we saw. And we total this and it will be somewhere close to 10 lakhs. So this gives us some idea. Then there's another example of this project which is located in Chennai, and this is 1 BHK home. And within this also there are like 3 categories: classic, premium and elite. And they have these, typical checklists of the, details, materials, and the facilities. And accordingly we see the cost estimate. This one is for the 2 BHK, again in Chennai, and for the 3 categories. And here, since the number of rooms is more, of course, the costing is different than the 1 BHK. And this is for the 3 BHK, again for 3 categories. And we see over here the idea of price. So there are details like, chimney, kitchen accessories, modular kitchen, and so on. And this one is located in Bangalore. This is for 2 BHK, and it has, the itemized details such as kitchen base unit, kitchen wall unit, kitchen loft unit, accessories, master bedroom wardrobe, guest bedroom wardrobe, loft, living TV unit, some standard dimensions and some standard price, and then this amounts to a total of 2,25,209 in terms of INR for a location Bangalore. And this one is for 3 BHK, again in Bangalore, and here with this itemized details, the costing is somewhere close to 3 lakhs. So this is sort of a comparative chart, So for project type, 2 to 3 BHK, or if it is a villa, and whether it's for rent, for own but in the budget category, or premium category, or luxury category for the own usage. There is a range of estimated cost. Now for the luxury, here we see 8 to 40 lakhs. So that's a huge range and huge variation. So completely depends on, the different kinds of details, finishes, choice of material, and whether there is a customized program, there are customized details, and what is it that designer is bringing to the table. So it could range anywhere depending on, all this customization and selection of material and finishes. There are some examples of these in the subsequent slides and some idea of, the cost estimate. So this one is a simple one and the costing is around 2.8 lakhs. Here this is 4.2 lakhs, 5.5 lakhs. So as we go on increasing the details and we go on improving the finishes and materials, the cost is definitely increasing, and also the space, the variation in space. This is 7 lakhs. This one is slightly luxurious in terms of, finishes, detailing, and the kind of material that is chosen. This is 15 lakhs. This is 22 lakhs. This is a villa. And this project is the Book Promotion Center. It's located in Dehradun. I recently discussed this. This is designed by myself and my team, and this is done for Ministry of Education and specifically for the National Book Trust. And here we made this BoQ. I showed in the contents that we will be talking about BoQ, which is the bill of quantities. And it's very important to make a BoQ to understand the detailed items that are used, the quantity, and what will be the impact on the overall costing. So we did this for the project, and we started with category A, which is demolition items. Now the existing flooring is what we recommended to be demolished, because for a project like this, which is very special, and this also has to cater to the differently abled people, especially the visually challenged candidates and users, we wanted to redesign the floor. So we demolished the existing floor, and under the demolition items, we also identified some existing electrical works and details, and removal of existing wooden windows with frame. So, what is the unit for each of these? Is it a job? Is it per square feet? Is it running feet? Is it quantifiable? So, for example, removal of existing wooden windows with frame, we could quantify as 42. And then the category B talks about new interior items. And it's a huge list because the entire project was done in detail. So, starting with natural stone flooring, then natural stone skirting. So, skirting is in running feet and the flooring is in square feet. What is the quantity? Reference images. Now, you do not see the rate and amount over here because this was given to the third party. We only prepared the BoQ detailed drawings and we did the supervision on the side, but this procurement was not done by us. But the overall decoding in terms of these categories, the different itemized details, quantity, everything, and with reference images. Of course, some of these are custom designed by us, or some are given the reference of existing makes. This entire BoQ can easily help us do the overall costing of the project. And that's the intention why I am discussing it over here. Ceramic tactile tiles, wall punning, so POP punning of 19 mm average thickness, wall painting with low VOC, I have been talking about it throughout the course, plain gypsum false ceiling for storeroom and passage, built-in furniture, book displays, desk for reading, billing counters, soft boards, and their units and quantity, and these are the designs that are custom done by us. New interior items continued, storage in the outside passage, and grab rail, hexagonal sitting in the ply and MDF. We had detailed this out. So all of these, the drawings and the details done by us, and then specifying the unit, whether square feet or running feet or a job, and what is the quantity. Display rack for new arrivals, then chairs and different categories, whether it's a billing desk chair or it's a foldable chair, and so on. And then the doors, different kinds of doors, door jamb, different finishes, all of that. Continuing with that, the decorative suspended lights in the passage area, the roller blinds. These are eco-friendly and interesting light fixtures that we have installed there. electrical works and other details, track lights. So this kind of a BOQ, it gives the very detailed idea of the entire list of items to be installed or demolished, or what are their subcategories, what is the unit, what's the number, and it gives the idea of overall costing of the project. So it's very crucial to have a BOQ. Ceiling fans, split AC units, braille in the corridor, so metal tactile wall panels which have the braille writings and descriptions of the artworks that are put over there, and so on. Then the ramp for the universal accessibility. I had shown it during that lecture that there was no ramp there, and we had to create it on site. Casement window, grill, all of those details, their quantity and units. CCTV cameras, glass fittings, railing for the ramp, and some other utilitarian items that were needed to be installed in this book promotion center. So that's the detailed BOQ, the bill of quantities. Now, I would like to show very quickly some innovative approaches for low cost interiors, which also include space optimization because space itself is costly. So, suspended bed and interesting furniture details and choices of joinery is also interesting and important. So, when we talk about a limited space, we can have options like a suspended bed, which is actually more useful than a pull out sofa, and it could also be an interesting detail which could register in the space alongside being functional. And there are pocket doors. So, pocket doors with glass windows allow for shared light to flow throughout the space while also creating separation. And even better, they slide right into the wall when not being used, taking up much less space than swinging doors. So, that's also to save space and overall costing while creating functional separation and interesting details. Be resourceful, that's very important for cutting down the cost of an interior design project. So, when we have limited space, we have to be resourceful. We have to try to, save surface space, and one does not want to shop new bulky furniture when the space is limited. Like a chair could be used as a side table in a very interesting and aesthetic manner, and so on. Multi use design. Pieces that can serve multiple purposes are key. So, we see some examples over here. Find a table that can function as a desk and a dining table. Get a deep sofa that can double as a guest bed. Use cubes that serve as a coffee table. So, there are these bonuses that can be utilized while thinking through design, the multi purpose way in which the design can be executed and the designs could be made. Space under the stairs, which is more often than not utilized, and it is left like a negative space, so it could be used. Set up some hidden closets for your miscellaneous stuff, give your project a clean look along with space optimization. Hidden workplace. So, sometimes we want to create this nice small workplace within our homes, and we could utilize, interesting furniture pieces such as pull out bench or set up our little office in a closet. So, there are ways to create these multi uses and multi purposes. So, we are optimizing space, we are saving that cost which would have gone otherwise in creating this extra space. Both of options allow to hide the home office that we see over here. This one inside the closet or over here. Reusing the waste seating furniture such as such examples that we see over here. Tables, very interesting way. Also unconventional, eye-catching, and then reutilizing, repurposing, reclaiming. Wash basins, which could be used in this interesting manner. Some other interesting furniture items. So there are various ways in which we can think about interior design costing, and we could either make it very detailed, or we could use or repurpose items to create low cost interiors. But the real comfort, visual and physical, is vital to every room. So that's important. Whether luxury or basic depends on the clientele's need and the way the designer and the client comes together. So the next lecture is going to focus on some important organizations, institutes, firms, designers, avenues of interior design pedagogy and practice. Some references for today's discussion. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.